Welcome to another Talk with the Doc with Dr. Akil Taher. You know him as an author, a speaker, because he stays focused on spreading the message of the benefits of living a heart healthy lifestyle. He's a septuagenarian athlete and a whole food plant-based veganism proponent. And there's so much more that I could say about him. He is the author of the book Open Heart, the transformational journey of a doctor who, after bypass surgery at 61, ran marathons and climbed mountains like Mount Kilimanjaro. But I think I'm going to start giving one interesting thing about Dr. Akil as we do these introductions. He says he's reincarnated into a new life to stay true to the meaning of his first name. I would ask you to guess what that is, but I'll tell you it is Akil the Wise. So he's gotten wise and he wants to bring that wisdom to all of us as he's sharing about how to live a heart healthy lifestyle. So, Dr. Akil, take it away.
Anyway, thanks for that introduction. I wish my wife would understand the meaning of my name. So anyway, so there it goes. What we are going to do is we are going to talk about the golden years. What I mean by golden years and nutrition being the roadmap for a healthy life. The golden years usually start about 60s and up. So this is a time when people have done really hard work all their life, and now it is a time for reflection to see where they are in life. But there can be two things. One is people who are interested in doing things even before they're retired, like having the gardening or walking or climbing or running or what have you. They will find it great to continue that path. But people who have only had work and nothing else, that becomes a dangerous thing for them. The reason being that now they are in a situation where they do not know what to do. And that causes a lot of problems of just being on the couch, not doing things, eating badly. So, idea is to there are the six pillars of lifestyle medicine. So, the point is that we have the six pillars of lifestyle medicine. And remember one thing, it is never too late. Age is not a limiting factor in changing one's lifestyle. You can not only add more years to your life, but you can add a life to your years. And apart from that, you may or may not increase the lifespan. I think you will, but definitely you will increase the health span. Because most of the people in the last 20 years, I should not say most, but people do in the last 20 years have a terrible outcome. They are bedridden, and these are the most horrible years of people's lives. This is where I want you to understand that that 20 years should be really the golden years where you can do so many things, and more than 20 years in some cases. So the idea is that if you followed or if you keep following the, the six pillars of lifestyle medicine, you find that nutrition becomes the main factor. And that is the cornerstone. And others, five pillars, like your physical activity, your sleep, you're managing stress, you're avoiding risky substances, and having a robust social support, all are complementary to the main nutrition, healthful eating. See, nutrition, think of it as in an orchestra, the maestro. and the rest of them are all your trumpet players and your saxophone and your pianist. So until and unless there is a real synergy and a synchronization of all these six pillars, you're not really going to get a great benefit. But nutrition helps you to become physical active. Nutrition helps your sleep. Nutrition helps to reduce your stress, certain kinds of foods. And then, of course, you avoid the risky substances, which is again like alcohol and smoking and all that. Now, and finally, the social relationships is always, I give an example of the blue zones, where people live long life, healthy life, and do it because of a tremendous amount of social interconnection. So, when we talk about uh, the six pillars and that they're connected and we need them to be in harmony to produce the best outcome, now we want to talk about nutrition. Today's talk will be how, as you age, how can nutrition help you? So, one thing is that diet itself is a leading cause of chronic diseases and disability and death in the US. The most important dietary risk in the United States are diets which are low in fruits, vegetables, low in nuts and seeds, high in sodium, high in processed foods, meats, sugar, and high in trans fats. These risks are the leading cause of chronic disease. Now, we can turn around and say that blood pressure, tobacco, smoking, unsafe, water sanitation, alcohol related deaths. Yes, yes, that is true, air pollution. But the leading one is what you put in your mouth. So, what we try and tell people is eat. Now, if these are your years. You've got to be careful. If you want a long, healthy life, then even if you're not a plant-based vegan, you can still change right now. I changed at the age of 61. So any one of you can do it. Trust me when I say that you will see tremendous improvement in your mental, physical, and emotional health. Fruits and vegetables, that should be half your plate, your veggies and your fruits. A quarter of your plate should be whole grains and quarter of the plant proteins. Now, plant proteins, there are a lot of it, like here over here, barley, brown rice, millet, amaranth, quinoa, and so all these should be taken as much as you can because a plant-based diet does not necessarily is calorie dense, but it is nutrient dense. So it will not let you put on weight. Again, beans and lentils. You know, when I became a vegan in the 61, plant-based vegan, there were not so many recipes. Go on now to certain groups on Facebook or others, and you will see tremendous amount of recipes. Recipes that are finger-licking food. You don't even miss it. So your beans are so many, 15 different types of beans, your lentils, the yellow lentils, the green lentils, the mung beans, and you have so much of it. And then finally you have for snacking your nuts and seeds, your cashew nuts, your pistachio, which also helps to sleep because it has a high concentration of melatonin. And then you have your almonds, uh, which is very rich in your calcium. And then you have your flax seeds and your chia seeds and your, uh, what is it now? I forget, amla powder, and the gooseberry, Indian gooseberry powder. and your moringa powder. All these things help you in in leading a healthy life. So, what should one do? See, people should look as far as possible to the labels. You see, what first of all, uh, total fat should be about 10 to 12%. At that age, especially, because you don't need the saturated fats at that point in time. What you need is fats, of course, for your brain. And the flax seeds and chia seeds give you enough of that fats. So if you are having 2000 calories a day, no more than 100 of them should come from saturated fat. That's about 10 grams of saturated fat per day. And then we have what is known as Japanese, I believe it is Okinawan diet, uh, which has only 6% of total fats. So, and and so we talk about foods with long shelf life, which are lying over there, which are processed, will decrease your lifespan. Now, when you talk about meats, animal protein has no fiber. It is high in saturated fat and cholesterol. It can reduce your kidney function with the kind of animal protein that we are talking about. I have seen in my practice, I've seen people come with kidney stones, urinary stones, urethra stones, bladder stones, if you are on a very high carnivore animal protein. Now, amines are also carcinogenic. You see, what happens is when foods, meat especially, are cooked at a very high temperature, then they produce these amines which can cause cancer of the gut and also cancer of the breast. These and it can also cause ulcerative colitis and other issues of the gut. And then what we have is you have in meats carnitine and choline. This is converted by your gut bacteria. The gut bacteria is extremely important. You have to have a diverse gut bacteria. And what happens with a diet full of fiber? Because gut bacteria love fiber. But if you have a lot of choline and carnitine in meats, this is converted by gut bacteria into transaminase TMAO oxidase, which then becomes an independent risk factor for atherosclerosis and causing heart attacks and strokes. So you got to be very careful about that. Uh, Even if somebody out there is not uh, a herbivore, I would I would advise that person that give up meat, but if not, cut down the portion. Become a flexitarian. Just 3 ounces or 2 ounces at times, okay, but fill your plate with all the other things that we have mentioned. Now, coming to salt, you have to understand that an American eats roughly 3.5 grams of salt a day. And the American Heart Association recommends not more than 2.3 grams a day. But I personally believe that it should not be more than 500 milligram to 1 gram a day. This can definitely improve your heart health and bring down your blood pressure. Now, we talk about processed foods. You see, one of the things that I found that we had a great boost in 2010 for veganism. And now it is sort of plateauing because of the processed foods of vegan foods. People are turning away from that because even though your mock chicken that is processed because you cannot make it without using the smoked chicken. So my whole idea is that stay away from processed, even if you are a vegan, even if you're a vegetarian, stay away from processed foods. Coloring agents and whatnot you have around there, pesticides also because of the way things are grown here. But try to be whole food, anything that is whole food, whether you are having your kale or whether you are having your chard or whether you're having your bok choy or carrots, it should be whole foods. And then you have sugar. Oh boy. Uh, I was shocked the other day when somebody told me that average American consumes more than 17 teaspoonfuls of added sugar, according to the American Heart Association, and 90% of this comes from processed foods. I was thinking about it yesterday. I gave a talk on dairy, uh, and I was I was pretty surprised that people think that in the dairy and milk, the main thing is calcium. No, the main thing in milk is lactose, sugar. So that is the bad part of it. And then of course your oils, even if you are using, please use the, I'm not asking you to use oil, but if you are, then it should be unsaturated, polyunsaturated or monounsaturated, like your olive oil or your canola, but definitely not oils like coconut oil and palm oil, which of course they stay solid at room temperature. So this is the basic thing. And people always tell me, "Oh, it's genetics." Remember, it's only about 10 to 15% of your health outcome is genetics, and that too with epigenetics, you can change the outcome. So by your healthy lifestyles, you can change the epigenetics of your body. And so, having said that, I would like to go because I was just yesterday I was talking about dairy and I was uh, and these are were some of my final thoughts. You see, strong bones don't come from a carton or from a plastic bottle, but from plants. And dairy is not at all essential for health or growth. See, dairy has saturated fats and cholesterol. That is why we call it the liquid meat. You see, 1 cup of 2% milk is equivalent to 1 ounce of meat. So the whole idea is that you have tremendous amount of fats and cholesterol that can definitely increase your risk of cardiovascular disease and diabetes. Now, someone asked me yesterday, or I think there was, yeah, that what about having low fat milk? Would that help? No, it does not. Because even if you're taking out the fat part of it, they sort of process this low fat and thicken it so that it is palatable. They add things. And then these are the gimmicks by the dairy industry. They will tell you be lactose free. We're giving you now lactose free milk. Yeah, but lactose free, but you still have those dangerous estrogens. You have those casein proteins. You have the whey protein, and you have this lactose in it. So if you are even lactose free, the other things are still there. Your saturated fat, your cholesterol, your casein that can cause you problems. Now, another, what I found in my practice was that children would come, especially, young adults, teenagers with early puberty because of the estrogen in the milk can cause this early puberty. And this early puberty can cause a lot of problems. I see them come with acne, and then remember, now you are getting hit by estrogen for a longer period of time because you reach puberty at the age of 9 or 10. And then I've seen them come with acne, and then they have a problem, psychological problem in school. And some of them will come around with asthma. A lot of young children, say in their first 2 years or 5 years, coming around with repeated ear infections. Now, even conventional medicine says that if you can give up milk for conventional I'm talking about, giving up milk for 3 months is all that you require for ear infections. But what do you get? You get antibiotics each time you go there. And then they say, okay, we need surgery because now the antibiotics are not working. But anybody and everybody should be trying out this. It can reduce your mucus, reduce your sinus congestion. It can make you breathe better. And there's so many advantages to it. So if there's one thing from trying to be vegan, even at the older age, your golden years, try to give up milk. And they say yogurt is so healthy, like someone said. And but yogurt is healthy, yes, because of the probiotics, but it is not there in the yogurt. It is added to the yogurt. So that can be added to non-dairy or plant-based yogurts too. Why should you take the risk of having that probiotics when you are still getting your saturated fat and cholesterol and other things? So I believe that you should go in for plant-based milks, soy, oat, almond, cashew, and all that. So we have talked about this, and then another question was the A2 milk is better than the A1 milk. A1 is more problematic uh, because see most of the A1 milk that you see in your market, in your cartons, are from Holstein cows, which are artificially inseminated from the limited stock of bulls, and that is the A1 casein. Now, this A1 casein can cause more inflammation, and so you get more GI issues, gut issues. Now, A2 casein, which is there in the Jersey cows, with certain sheep, certain goats, and this A2 casein can cause a little bit less of inflammation, so you get less of distension. But again, the other factors of the hormones and the antibiotics and the casein proteins are with saturated fat cholesterol is still there. So in my case, whether it is A1 or A2 milk, it is not really good milk. Another question yesterday was about raw milk. If you have raw milk, would that help? No, pasteurization is required. Heating the milk for a short period of time to kill the bacteria. Otherwise, you will get the bacteria. But what happens in our milk that we get is also some of it is homogenized. That means the fat particles that are there are they are passed through small little holes to make it tiny little particles of fat that is now mixed in the milk, and therefore you cannot get the cream of this milk. And I mentioned yesterday that when I was back in India, way back in the 70s, we used to have milk that was not homogenized, and therefore it had a nice cream layer. And look at it was a bad thing to do, but that was a delicacy. You put raw sugar on it and had it with bread. So the idea is that homogenize is not really good. So having said that a little bit about milk, now we go on to we are getting older, right? So all of us, not all of us, at least I'm 77, and what happens is your appetite decreases as you grow older. Now, also you have an issue with thirst centers. Your thirst centers don't work as well as when you were younger. That means you have to have certain times that you feel, okay, these are the times that I'm going to have my water, or at least fill up a large glass, two or three in the tumbler, and see that you finish that water during the day. Because a lot of people come with dehydration, not even realizing that they are dehydrated because it does not show like in younger people. So then you have is your fiber. Now remember that your fiber should increase as you get older. The reason being that as you get older, your peristalsis or the movement of your colon and your gut is not as good. So you are likely, that is why older people are likely to get constipated. Therefore, if you increase your fiber to 30, 40 grams, 50 grams, 60, 70 grams, not only will it help you with the constipation, but your gut microbiomes will love that, and you can reduce your cholesterol. So there are tremendous benefits of having fiber. But one mistake that you should not make is when you take in a lot of fiber, you should be taking a lot of fluids, liquids. Another thing is vitamin B12. This is a must for vegans and vegetarians, but also for older adults. Even if you're not a vegan and you're a herbivore, that means you eat meat and other vegetarian food. But because what happens in older adults that there's so many medications that they're on, like your acid blockers and your diabetic medications, the metformins and blood pressure medications, that your vitamin B12 is not absorbed. And just remember, some people may not realize this, but when you get your B12 and you're taking it regularly, get it checked because I've found quite a few cases in my practice that even then the vitamin B12 is low. These are the people that the mucus lining in the stomach does not absorb the vitamin B12. And they are what is called, we used to call it as pernicious anemia. That means they have to get vitamin B12 shots to go directly into your blood. And then we have calcium. Calcium is overrated. The dairy industry says you got to have 1.5 grams or 1 gram of calcium a day. Nonsense. You don't require that much of calcium. You require 600 to 700 milligrams of calcium. And that you do not need milk for it or cheese for it. You just can have a lot of your green leafy vegetables like your spinach, your bok choy, your collard greens, and your nuts, like we talked about, almonds, your pumpkin seeds, your sunflower seeds. Uh, so these things can give you enough of calcium. In fact, there are dangers of overtaking calcium. You may end up getting kidney stones or hyperparathyroidism. So your parathyroids may make more hormones. Next comes vitamin D. Now, this is for older people a must. You should be going on a supplement and get it checked. Even before the COVID, 60% of nursing home patients were vitamin D deficient. So, elderly folks, You have to depend on dietary sources and supplements. But dietary sources in a vegan this thing or vegetarian, you cannot get. So please, on supplements or sunshine. Now, if you get a sensible sun exposure from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. for about, if you are Caucasian, then about 25 to 30 minutes of that sun exposure, or I'm sorry, it should be about 15 to 20 minutes for Caucasians, and it should be about 25 to 30 minutes if you're dark skinned like I am. Now, what does vitamin D do? Vitamin D helps in your skeletal health. It's not that that you get strong bones and strong teeth with dairy. It is vitamin D that helps in the skeletal health. And vitamin D is what is helping you to absorb the calcium. So we have we have this 60%. I mean, sorry, we already vitamin D. It helps also in certain. In COVID, it helped. There was a study done on COVID about vitamin D and how it prevented patients from going for intubation in the initial stages of COVID. So please, please get your vitamin D checked up and get it routinely checked, because I always tell people in the first 3 months I did not go out in the COVID, no sunshine. I did not take the supplement, and my vitamin D3 was very, very low, vitamin D. And then you come across fats. What I said was you need not really fats which are saturated fats and others. What you need is omega 3. Omega 3 fats is required for your brain to function well, and you can get it in your flax and chia seeds. Iron, when people we talk about the non heme and the heme iron, which comes from meat, but the non heme iron is the one which should be there, and that should be the one that you should be actually taking. So we go on to now. Uh, oh boy, where am I? Last one was the protein, right? Yes. Let me just. So the protein is, now this is, as you get older, the protein mass becomes less. And don't run around getting protein powders and getting it. Your muscle mass has to be strengthened. So the idea is that doing muscle strengthening exercises would help you much more than your protein powders and eating uh, meat products. So your protein is that muscle strengthening can increase, not will not increase your protein, but will help you in building your muscles. That is what you need. And with you see, there are so many of these athletes um, who have been on a vegan diet, who have not taken any protein powders. They've taken there's plant proteins, and one that comes to mind is Dotsie Bosch, who won in cycling two medals, silver medals in the Olympics. And I was fortunate enough to be interviewed by her, and she said this, that my energy levels simply went sky high the moment I became a vegan. And so there are so many of them that you have. Djokovic, for example, is still there in his 30s, still very active. So what we have now is Yeah, that covers up what the nutritional requirements for your golden years should be. Uh, Again, very important. Remember to hydrate yourself. Remember to take fiber. Get your vitamin B12, vitamin D. Don't bank too much on calcium. Give up dairy. Fats you require, but not saturated fats, and then a protein is muscle strengthening. So with that, I end up and I'm going to stop sharing, and then I will take questions, which would be
You can unmute your mic and feel free to ask away.
yes,
Yes.
go ahead.
Uh, Doctor, if you have an arrhythmic uh, issue of the heart, then all these diet things will work, or is there any specific diet?
You see, arrhythmias, when we talk about mostly in older people, is atrial fibrillation. Now, atrial fibrillation is a thing that can cause a rapid beat of the heart and can lead to strokes. So, in that case, you are put on a blood thinner, and sometimes you are given medications to slow your heart rate and keep it in a rhythm. Correct? That is given. But along with this, you can get problems. So idea is that if you have a proper whole food plant-based diet, you are definitely going to feel much better. Now, I'm not saying that this is a double-blinded study, but I have seen observational studies in my patients that with this atrial fibrillation that they have, and they go on to the diet that I talked about now, and they do a lot better. They don't get into the rhythm, which is very fast. So I
Okay,
hope
thanks. Yeah,
that answers your question.
thanks.
Where are you from, Abbas, in Pune?
I am at Salunki Ware in Pune.
Oh,
I am ex Xavierite 67 batch.
oh,
I
great.
am cousin of Mamula.
Oh, fantastic. So nice meeting you, my friend. I'm a Xavierite, so we are both Xavierites.
Yeah, I'm in touch. I'm on that net with the emails going around, the Xavierite thing.
Correct. Ask him to join. I do a lot of talks. Everybody is welcome. And ask any questions, tell them.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Any questions from Aaron? All right. Okay. And what about Linda?
Linda, well, I asked a couple of friends and I got a couple of questions that I can go ahead and ask while others are thinking about theirs. Um, One of my friends asked, for somebody who's committed to a healthy whole food diet, are there any nutritional markers like vitamin D, B12, omega-3 that you recommend getting tested for annually and why? What's the benefit?
If you're whole food plant-based diet, you must remember that vitamin B12 and vitamin D should be checked on a regular basis. The reason because we think about vitamin B12 as anemia, but it's more so. It's the question of the nerves. Your neuron system is affected with vitamin B12 less. We call in medical terms a subacute combined degeneration of the spinal cord. That happens with vitamin B12 being very low. And especially as I mentioned for vitamin B12, people who cannot absorb it are even more likely to have problems, whereby the gait becomes uneasy and they have a lot of other problems besides being vitamin B12 deficient anemia. Number two is your D. Your D should be checked and rechecked every so often, 6 months or something, or a year should be checked. Your D should be pretty much, because in my practice, I've yet to come across a patient who has vitamin D toxicity. So there is very,
Meaning they had too much.
yeah, but they did not have too much. I hardly saw toxicity of vitamin D in my practice. So you can be liberal and take. Some people take 1,000 units, some people take 2,000, 5,000, depending on where you are. It's 30 to 100. So it depends on where you are. But get that checked and supplement. If you do not get your sunshine vitamin, and sunshine vitamin is ultraviolet rays directly on your skin, not coming from the window pane. But also remember that it is that 10 to 3 window that they give you, that I told you, the sunshine. Because if you go later on, then you may burn your skin. So here is the kind of a double this thing. If you go too much out in the sun, you can get skin cancers. Your cancers like your basal cell, your squamous cell that we talked about in one of my talks I gave on skin. And then if you, so that is a problem. Now, I always tell you about problems that I have faced. When I ran marathons and all that, I was in the sun and I had not put sunscreens, thinking that I am dark, so it is unlikely for me to get it because I'm not blue-eyed and blonde. They get it more often. But yet I got a small this thing around here, which was a basal cell carcinoma, cancer. And I had to have it operated. So that question of vitamin D is in that period of time. And number three is just if you feel low, lethargic, tired, get these few things tested. Your thyroid may be there or your anemia profile. So your iron may be low. But again, don't run around when doctors tell you, oh, you got to have more meat, you got to have liver, you got to have. No, no, no. Just plant-based will bring your iron up. Your green leafy vegetables, your collard greens and your spinach and all that will do it. Kale. So these three things should be tested often. Then, of course, if you will find out that if you're on a whole food plant base, when you check your cholesterol and it is going to be so low. And you'll wonder, you say, oh my God, I may have to lower my statin doses or I may have to do away with statin. So that's another issue. You see, your blood sugars will come down if you're a diabetic. So you may have to lower your. So the important thing is that being on a plant-based diet, you check your labs not to get worried, oh my God, it's so high, but to be happy that how low it has gone. I hope that
Mhm.
answers the question.
Are there any other things that we should be checking? D, B12,
Yeah,
um, lipoprotein A, we're doing cholesterol and
blood
hypertension,
sugars, blood
blood.
sugars, your sodium, your potassium, all that should be checked once in a year,
Okay.
not more than that. If you are on a whole food plant-based diet, I would say even 2 years because everything is going to be so normal.
Okay.
You want to feel great about it, go and get it checked and say, wow, look at my results. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, doctor, in amongst the meats, uh, the fish is supposed to be the most safest compared to all other meats. The beef being the most dangerous. Shrimps also is a problem. So, is fish a better alternative if somebody has meats along with his veggies?
Now, let me tell you one thing. Meats are meats. Okay? The only advantage that fish has over uh, beef or lamb is that your fish has omega 3 and that helps you. But you can get omega 3 from uh, chia seeds and flax seeds. So you don't really need that, or from your nuts, almond nuts, this, that. You can get enough. So you don't need to have that fish. Now, everyone who tells me this is obviously because they cannot let go of the taste. That is an issue. Not that, because the saturated fat and cholesterol is the same. So what you're doing is jumping from the, you know, it's a kind of a situation that what I would say is that, is it better? Yes, it may be better, but it is not a complete thing, because you can get a heart attack if your saturated fats are high and if your cholesterol is high. So that's the whole issue to me. I don't think, and especially as you grow older, your kidneys can't take it, because animal protein is animal protein, whether it is fish or meat. Of course, Francine will always have the questions or I am
Well, we
sure.
do have a question from Michael. Can I eat some nuts even though I have a little heart disease?
What heart disease does he have? Coronary artery disease?
Michael, can you help us out with that? Looks like you're unmuted. What type of heart disease? A little heart disease. We need a little bit more specificity. I don't know, maybe.
Okay. Now, anyway, for that, can I have some nuts even though I have a little heart disease? Uh, uh, Little heart disease, to me, I need a little more information as to whether you have coronary artery disease, or you got congestive heart failure, or you got atrial fibrillation, arrhythmia problems.
He
Uh,
says rapid heart rate sometimes.
okay, okay. If you got rapid heart rate and your cholesterol levels and yours are normal, and you don't have a heart disease, you don't have high blood pressure, you don't have diabetes, it is absolutely to go ahead and have nuts. People who have had heart disease, coronary artery disease, like I have, where I had to have stents, where I had to have open up heart surgery, I should be careful not having uh, that because of the fats. I can have now and then, but not to my heart's content. Any, Francine,
Yes.
you need either a comment or a question.
Well, I can do both, actually. I can satisfy both of those, doctor.
That's fantastic.
Okay, I'm going to be 80 in November.
Wow,
I
congratulations.
don't have any other than the generous gift of my cholesterol and high blood pressure, courtesy of the family of gene pool that I'm in. I really have no other conditions. And going through your talk today, I'm really encouraged by the fact that I eat almost everything that you say we should eat. But my biggest problem is, and I hate to say this because I'm afraid it's going to, I wondered whether I should say it or not, but I'm going to go ahead and take the risk. I find that when I eat just the vegan diet, you know, the veggies, I eat a lot of beans, I eat a lot of the seeds that you're talking about. I eat all kinds of berries, mushrooms and onions, all that stuff. But I never really feel as good as if I have a little, I know this is a 4-letter word, meat. And here's the thing. I have discovered that I can eat a burger. I can order a burger at the farm burger place, the outlet, the farm burger, and I can take that burger and eat and add a little of that meat in all my meals, my beans and everything else. And I find I feel better. I don't know if that's just because I don't eat enough. I remember seeing this show on an animal show that gorillas, I think, are vegans, or maybe it was koala bears. I don't remember, but they eat all day long because there's not enough protein in greens to really give you the amount of protein you need. I'm not a big eater. And I've been doing the farm burger thing, I'd say about a year and a half. And my last level of cholesterol, it went down 10 points. My LDL went down 10 points, which shocked me because I've been trying to lower that sucker for a long time. And I am on a statin. I do take, I think it's 7.5 milligrams of a statin, rosuvastatin. But I find that that's been beneficial. I don't see anything wrong with my numbers. And I go to the doctor every year to get my levels checked, my, like you were saying, D, calcium, all that stuff. And everything is now within normal limits. So I
Oh,
feel like if it's not broke, don't fix it. I mean, I don't really want,
let
I
me
guess I don't want to mess with this protocol because it seems to
let
be
me
working
let
for
me
me,
let me
doctor.
let me interject over here before I lose my thoughts.
Sure.
Uh, you may be, Francine, an outlier. Means you may not follow the usual this thing. There are a lot of people. I mean, I always give an example of Winston Churchill, who used to smoke like a chimney and drink like a fish, and still lived up to be 95 and 96. But these are the outliers.
Mhm.
I'm talking about the majority of people like I am and other people to follow this. So you may be an outlier. Number two, in my opinion, again, whatever you are doing is okay. It's helping you. But in my opinion, if you were to, which I am not, a totally whole food, plant-based, no oil, sugar, salt diet, I guarantee you that you will not have to take your statin or your blood pressure medications. This is my belief. I can't do without salt. I mean, I take very little salt, but I have to use salt.
Yeah, I have some. Yeah, little.
Now, uh, I've given up sugar of the last 2 years or so. I don't take any sugar that is processed. So I have a lovely dessert that is not 3 times a week that I make out of dates
Me
and
too.
oat milk, and I put a little cocoa powder in that, and a little cinnamon in that, and a banana, and it's delicious.
It is.
Really cool it up and put a little ice in it, and
It's like
it's
a smoothie. It's sort of like a smoothie
like a
type.
smoothie. It's
Yeah.
a smoothie.
Yeah, I make those and I put frozen berries in there too,
Yes,
along with
yes,
the
yes,
dates.
yes,
I
yes,
try to hold sugar to a low level too,
yes,
doctor. And I find that what I've
yes.
noticed is I don't crave it like I used to. I
Correct,
used to
correct.
really crave sugar, and now I really don't. I think it maybe your taste buds may take a little while to change, but I find that I don't really crave sugar like I used to.
Yeah, I had to have a tough time, but I did manage to get off the sugar train. But another thing is that the burgers that you are taking, I am not sure in the environment we are in today, with all this dairy industry and all that, I am not sure that that burger is totally safe and does not have all the antibiotics and what have you. So
Well, may I just interject and invite you to go on their website, Farm Burger. They
Mhm.
actually have relationships with farmers, and they claim that their beef does not have hormones or any antibiotics or anything like that in it. Uh, I can't prove that they do or don't, but I just feel like my numbers are still very good.
No,
And
no,
I
no.
only eat this burger, doctor. It
Correct,
lasts me a week. So I
correct.
put little pieces of it, sprinkle it in like almost like a condiment.
No, no, more power to you. I am not denying that at all. The point I'm making is that that works for you, but generally does not work for the majority of the people.
And that
For
could be.
having
That could
you
very well
you
be.
have you have you don't have that kind of, but when you have a problem like I have, when you cannot you're having diverticulitis, which is perforated twice, you're in a
Mhm.
heart, you have a cardiac arrest, you've had stents, you got other surgeries done. I mean, and on top of it, you've got an arrhythmia problem, a Wolf Parkinson White syndrome that I have, and now the little LPA has come out from nowhere, which is sky high. So in this
Mm.
case, you've got to be extremely careful. But it's still, most people would think that, okay, you're surviving, thank God. I'm not surviving, I'm thriving.
Yeah.
That's the important thing, here.
I
That
agree. I
I
think
want people to thrive, not just thrive and survive. Now, again, I said in my opening talk, when I opened my remarks, that you may not necessarily, your lifespan may not increase, may or may not increase, but your health span is what I'm after.
me too. I'm with you. It's more important to have healthy years rather than longevity and wheelchairs and things like that.
Yeah.
I've mentioned before I belong to a women's group at my church, and the people who are roughly my age, two of them can't come to the meetings unless somebody picks them up because they can no longer get in and out of a car by themselves. Another two are on walkers, and there's one or two on a cane. And I've tried that. We have silver sneakers, a lot of us, which is a benefit for going to the gym. I've offered to take them to the gym. I've offered to suggest some things they could do there. They have virtually no interest. And it's just very sad to me how they deteriorate. They just are becoming weaker and weaker. Not to mention diet. I'm just talking about muscle, muscle mass and so forth. So I think if you're willing to really make your health a priority, everything you're saying is absolutely essential. Along with exercise, I go to the gym every day. I lift, I do core work, I do leg work, I do all kinds of stuff. And it really, I think I'm living my best life. I'm probably healthier now than I've ever been. And my numbers, I'm going to go to my yearly exam, physical, next month. But so far, I've been doing really well. So I hate to mess with anything that I'm already doing.
That's fine. That's fine. That's you're doing a great thing. And like I said, the six pillars are the most important. And if you
Yes.
can follow the six pillars, even this thing, I am going to give a talk. If anybody is in the Alabama area around, if people who are there and who want to come, I'm giving a talk in the Jacksonville State University about exercise and kinesiology.
Neat.
So that'll be an interesting topic for the students and their teachers and professors and all that will be there. So that should be a nice topic. I think it may be recorded, but I'm not sure about it.
We're
It
going to
may-
do our best.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
so and
You
and
want to take a moment and tell folks about the other things that are going on
yeah,
that they
you can go ahead, Lynn, and
you see
regarding
that? This is local. Walk with the Doc. Can you see that? Oops.
Yes, I can.
Okay. It's going to be first Saturday this month. So October 4th, and the health topic is walking and nutrition for mental health because October is Mental Health Awareness Month. So you're invited to that. And then Dr. Keel is doing his Shop and Cook with the Doc with a new recipe, um, savory kale and mushroom oats. It's a plant strong inspired dish. And he's excited about that. I'm surprised he hasn't jumped in to start saying something.
this is true because it has got some million hits on the person who actually got this out, and I'm going to try this out. I'm not saying it is going to turn out as good as what the original person did, but then again, I never say that I am a gourmet chef. I am not a gourmet chef. I'm not chef. I'm just doing what other people would like to do it in the kitchen every day. You can't have a gourmet meal every day, can you? No. So just something that I take here, there, put it together, see how it comes out, and that's good, tasty. So if you like it, go ahead and go up to it. It's free totally. You can go on to my this
Here's
thing.
the link. Yeah,
Abbas, tell the people in Xavier's to also to watch this. These things are really, really good. I do it
Yeah,
once.
yeah, you'll
and
have to.
Yeah.
grab the cookbook too. He's got a cookbook with these recipes in it.
And
And then there's next month on October 31st, he's going to talk about hypertension,
Is
why
that
it
a monthly
happens, and
talk?
how to stop it.
That's the monthly talk, you mean?
Yes,
Yes,
like we're having
October
today.
31st? Okay.
yes.
Okay, I'll put that on my calendar. Thank you for that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And I would like people from different, even Abbas, even in Pune, you can ask people, your doctors, to start walk with a dog. I know it's
Okay.
difficult, but why
Mm-hmm.
don't you ask them? Hey, start, because this is a worldwide thing. Walk with
Mm-hmm.
a
Hmm.
dog.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be nice. What else are we talking about? Uh,
Um,
any more questions? I have some time, so you can go ahead and ask me any questions you want.
we're over our time, but if you are open to hanging around and continuing the conversation, Dr. Akil is willing.
Trying to think of anything.
So there was another question that came to me about oxidative stress. We heard about oxidative stress as we've been, getting older, but how does it actually show up for older people? What are some of the symptoms that we should be looking for?
Yeah, you see, these are things like the inflammatory and oxidative processes which take place. So that is why when you eat a lot of antioxidants, you do not. All these things, when we talk about for common diseases, are your oxidation, your inflammation, your shortening of your telomeres, your overstimulation of your sympathetic nervous system, thereby you are in high doses of cortisone comes in, then you get depressed, and then you start eating more, and then you get more obese. So all these things, then that eventually leads to what? Cardiac disease, strokes, blood pressure, blood sugar, diabetes, and arthritis. This is what it is. So when you have like berries what people use in their smoothies, these are
Mm,
antioxidants.
that's good.
So all these things which are antioxidants will get you off from the things of chronic diseases. Now remember, half the people in this country are walking with high blood sugar and high blood pressure without knowing about it.
Mm, it's true.
So
Okay.
that is where the situation is. You go around to your doctor, and the nurse wraps up that on the armband and takes a blood pressure and says, "Oh, it is." You know, I am not blaming. There are good doctors, bad doctors. There are good nurses, bad nurses. There are good humans, bad humans. Period. But that is because they don't have time. Sometimes, I mean, I'm not saying this, but my radial artery from my left hand has been removed for putting in my coronaries, in place of my coronaries. I sometimes check when I'm with my staff that take my blood pressure on this arm. You can't get it because the
Does it
radial artery is not there.
Mm.
If somebody turns
does it look
around and
like
says, "Oh, it is like 138 over 84," no, you're just saying it, or you're hearing something different. So that is not, when I talk about high blood pressure, I will tell you exactly what to do.
okay? So there's another, looks like a couple questions. Michael says, I am 80 and a vegetarian and I'm too thin. What can I eat to gain weight?
First of all, become a whole food plant-based vegan so that you can get a lot of nutrients in your diet as opposed to calories. You need calories because calories give you weight and all that, but that is not the weight that you want. So if you get nutrients in your diet, and there are some people whose metabolic rate is such, I can never put on weight. When I had a heart disease and they opened me up, I was not overweight. My BMI was 23. So
Mm.
I was not overweight, but I did have a problem. Now, I don't know about Michael, but I had a problem. I was not obese, I was not overweight, but I did carry fat. And now
Mm.
you ask me, how did you carry fat? I carried it in my belly. That is why most Indians, you'll find the BMIs are not high, but they're carrying fat in their belly, so they get a little pouch.
Not just,
Visceral fat.
yeah.
And visceral fat is directly related to cardiovascular disease.
And if I may interrupt, doctor, wouldn't it also be partly due to sarcopenia, the natural process of the muscles shriveling up as we age, and that's why we should do strength training and things like that?
Sarcopenia is a definite thing if people are not active, 100%. So that is why the muscle strengthening exercises, again, I tell you one thing, is giving 30 minutes of moderate intensity exercises,
Absolutely.
at least 150 minutes in a week. That means about 5 days in a week. And then the other 2 days you can put it for muscle strengthening. Minimum I'm talking about. The more you do, the better it is. But at least this, if you do, it is great. Previously, it was thought that you had to use 70% of your maximum heart rate. But not so, not all throughout your exercise. You can exercise for 30 minutes, and 7 to 8 minutes, your heart rate should be 70% of your maximum heart rate. So if you can get that 7 to 8% of high intensity, like I do elliptical. Elliptical for me, I don't know about others. Each one is an individual thing. For me, elliptical makes my heart rate go high up. So to me, that is a real aerobic exercise for me. Even running cannot do that. But if I'm not constantly doing it, I'm doing 3 or 4 minutes where my heart rate goes very high. Then for the other 7 minutes, I do on a higher level, but my heart rate will remain high, but not that high. Then the next 10 minutes, again for 1, 2 minutes, I'll go very high, keeping the strength lower down so I can move faster. So keep up that, and you're home free. That exercise should do it. And along with that activity is even slight activity is better. It increases your endorphins. One of the talks I gave, I said there was a study done in Duke University where they were taken students who had kind of depression, and as part of them were put on regular intense exercise, and the other part was put on Zoloft, the antidepressant. And they found that the people who were on the exercise did much better than the Zoloft
Wow.
because you have that brain neurotrophic factor
Mm-hmm.
that comes up and that increases your dopamine. So there's so much to it that it is mind boggling. But all these 6 pillars, if you cover up, that's it.
There's another question. Can stem cell therapy help seniors with arthritis and heart disease?
It's not very much in the main circle. It's done into a high, what you call, medical institutions with medical colleges and things like that. But stem cell for regenerating coronary arteries, heart things are in the infant stage.
That's what I would
So
think.
we don't really know the outcome, but there is a good distinct chance that that may be the in the future the main thing. You can get, for example, I mean, think of future. Your liver is gone, your lungs are gone, you can get, but this is all going to happen, and things are moving so fast with the help of AI that you never know. I mean, imagine all of us who are over the age of 70, where in the last few years we have seen tremendous things because of AI.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think that is up to it. Please pass the message around. All
We've
I
got
want.
room for one more question. Linda had a question. I think this is up your wheelhouse. Can you recommend a vegan protein powder to use for smoothies and also a fiber supplement?
Okay. Um, First of all, both these questions, Linda, for me are, how should I put it? I don't believe in protein powders, so I would not put it in the. What I would like you to do, Linda, is when you make your smoothies, make it with silky tofu. The silky soft tofu, that is
Silken.
silken, right? That
Yes.
tofu, if you put it in your smoothies, will give you immense amount of protein. We did one. We did one. It is there, or I don't know whether it came out
It
well
was
or it didn't.
broadcast yesterday.
It was broadcast yesterday. Was it there? I
Mm-hmm.
made that. I made that with wild cherries. So my idea is that not protein powder. So if you want protein powder, I don't know which one is there, but you got to look into it and see that it is all organic and things. But I mean, Costco may have that. And the second thing you were asking was protein and what else?
Fiber supplement.
Oh, fiber supplement again, to me, if you have a whole food plant-based diet and if you have a good juice in the morning, incorporating your carrots and your celery and your cucumbers and your beets and your bananas and your pears and whatnot, which I do every single day for the last when after 61 years. I've been doing it for 15 years now. That is enough fiber. But if you're looking at fiber, then go in for anything that you have fiber products in the market, but should not be careful that it should not contain sugar. Because most of the fiber products which you see, Citrusol or what are the other brands? Help me out, guys.
Mhm.
What is the other brands of fiber?
Metamucil.
Metamucil.
That's
But
one that I hear about.
yeah, but the sugars are very high in some of them.
But I agree with you. There's a lot of ways to get fiber if you're willing to eat the foods
Correct.
from, and that way it's originally sourced. You don't have to go through different incarnations of fiber. Just go to the regular source and eat that. Yeah,
When I go for my talks and all that to different places, and I can't carry my juice that I make every day, then I may depend on supplement fiber. But other than that, no. Because I messed up my stomach quite a lot in the sense of diverticulitis, perforation. So I have to have that. Abbas, remember in India we used to have the isabgol
Yeah.
Yeah, that is generally taken as
fiber.
as a fiber and to prevent constipation.
That is it. Fiber prevents constipation.
For
And
what, for those that are unknown about that, can you explain what that is?
it's the same thing as your Metamucil,
Oh, okay.
but it's an Indian this thing without any sugar and all that you get.
Good. Thank you for that. And Linda, hope that answered your question. Thank you, everybody, for just being here and participating in such a great way. We will be back next month. Remember, October 4th is the Walk with the Doc. That's here in the Atlanta local area, but October 30th is the next Shop and Cook with the Doc, where he's doing, what did it say he was doing?
That oatmeal, savory oatmeal, not the
Right.
sweet one,
And
with
then
mushrooms.
the 31st is going to be the next talk with the doc, where we're going to talk about hypertension. What
Yeah,
is
we
it?
see the nice thing is walk with the dog. We open up with 5 to 6 minutes of talk, any health topic. And I could not go. This second Saturday was canceled this time because I have to go to work in my clinic in Alabama.
Okay, I was going to ask that question because usually you said it was the second Saturday rather
Yeah,
than the
but
first.
I was busy doing that. I
All
have
right.
to go to work because there's shortage of doctors.
Okay.
So I'll be there. Anyway, guys, lovely meeting all of you again.
Good to see you. Thank you, doctor.
Thank you
Thanks,
very much.
everybody.
Appreciate it.
Namaste to you and to
Namaste.
everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Doctor.
Namaste.
No problem. No.
Bye for
Bye.
now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.